Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome to another video. So today I'm going to be filming just a sit down kind of chit chat with me type of video because basically a couple weeks ago I posted a transformation photo from when I was kind of like anorexic. I was never diagnosed or anything and I was never hospitalized, but I had, let's say, anorexic like eating habits and eating behaviors, and I was pretty underweight and it was really unhealthy. So how I went from that to now being on prep, dieting down for competition, but obviously both pictures I was like restricting my calories, but right now I have no emotional attachment to my appearance, and back then I did, and I would never really recommend competing or anything to anyone that is suffering from the eating disorder, but I thought I would make a video explaining my journey with orthorexia and anorexia, which are the two kind of disordered eating habits that I used to have when I was younger, and how I kind of went from being in that mindset to being in the mindset that I'm in today. So I did get a lot of questions and a lot of DMs. People said that they were like happy that I'm sharing my story, but they wanted to know more, and obviously there's only so much I can type up into an Instagram caption that no one's gonna read anyway. So I thought I'd make a video explaining that. And before we get into it, just like little disclaimer, I'm gonna be talking about calories and my weight, so if that triggers you, just so you know. And also I'm obviously not like a healthcare or medical professional. I would definitely recommend you get therapy because what worked for me might not work for you, and everyone's really different, and I just want to share my experience. This is not me recommending anything. This is me just saying what worked for me and my journey basically. So I have been on like a roller coaster with like food and working out and fitness and stuff ever since I was like really young. So basically, like when I was a kid, I was one of those skinny kids that could eat like whatever she wanted and not gain weight. Like I was that girl that ate so much shit and it didn't really like change my body or anything. Like it was just, I was always skinny. But then when I was about like 12-ish, I became really self-conscious about my midsection, like my stomach, because I had like really skinny legs, skinny arms, but like around my stomach I was always like either bloated or just I carried all my fat there, and I didn't like it. I've always been obsessed with like abs and like having a flat stomach and stuff. So when I was 12 is when I like became aware basically. So yeah, what I started doing is kind of restricting the food that I ate. I knew what calories were, but I never really tracked them at that stage because I wasn't like, I didn't know anything about energy balance or like calorie deficit, things like that. So I would just like kind of restrict my food, and people were like giving me compliments at school saying that I look really good, I look like a model, and I kind of became addicted to those compliments, and that's when I really became super like appearance focused, and I was obsessed with the way that I looked, and I was weighing myself all the time. I was like really underweight. And then over the summer of like 2013, I think, so I was 13 years old, I became like addicted to Tim Hortons donuts. They were so good and I was eating them all the time, and then I was like, oh, like I'm in a rut because like I started eating donuts or whatever, and I was looking at myself in the mirror and I didn't like my midsection, and I started taking progress pictures in my underwear, and I was like, all right, okay, I'm gonna commit to only eating healthy. So summer of 2013, I was like, that's when the orthorexia kind of started. I was like, I'm only gonna eat healthy. I even went through like a paleo phase, which was really shit by the way. I went through a paleo phase. It didn't last long, but I stuck to like clean eating, so I'd only eat like clean foods that weren't processed. And my mom started training with a personal trainer, so I jumped in. I trained with them. We did 3 times a week. It was like kind of resistance training and circuit training with like weights and stuff. And I was also like going on runs like 3 to 4 times a week, like maybe on like 20-minute or 30-minute runs tops, like around my house where I lived. And I started seeing pretty good progress. Like my stomach became flatter and flatter. I lost a bit of weight, and I remember when I went to Australia in 2013, like that winter, it was like December, but it was summer in Australia, so I was like in a bikini and taking pictures and stuff, and I was super happy with the way I looked. And at the time I think I weighed like 47 kilos and I was eating like 1,400 calories, which I didn't understand that I was in a deficit, and that's why I was losing weight. For me it was more like, oh, this number is the number I need to eat and it's perfect. And at the time, like my diet was really just like super clean. Like for breakfast I had like a tiny serving of like cereal with skim milk, and then at school I'd only have like carrots, cucumbers, almonds, and then when I got home I'd have plain boiled chicken breast, and then I'd have like half a cup of low-fat Greek yogurt with some like granola, and then I also had some fruit, and that was all that I had. And I was really consistent. I was eating the same thing every single day, and my willpower was really strong. Like I never was tempted to eat like brownies or cookies. Like I remember at school people would bring like brownies and cookies for people's birthdays, and I was like, no, I don't want that. I don't want that. Like no, I only eat healthy. And like I was so proud of myself, and I was so cringe, but like yeah, I was so proud of myself for being the healthy fit girl, and everyone was like, oh my god, you're so healthy, you're so fit. And I was like, and then I discovered veganism. So there's this girl on YouTube, her name is Freely the Banana Girl. She's a bit crazy, but she was like promoting veganism, not just veganism, but like this thing called raw till 4, where you would only eat like raw fruits and vegetables until 4 p.m. and then your dinner or like your last meal of the day would be like a high carb starchy meal. And she would recommend like eating at least 2,500 to 3,000 calories a day, because like on this diet you can eat as much as you want and never put on any fat. And she didn't believe in calories in, calories out, so I stopped believing in calories in, calories out. And yeah, so I went vegan cold turkey and I started doing this thing, and the main reason why I did it was because I had reached a point where I felt like I wanted to eat more. Like even though my willpower was really strong, like I just felt really restricted and really just hungry. Like I wasn't craving junk food, I was just craving more food. Like I just wanted to eat more. So I started doing this raw till 4 thing that she preached, and I went fully vegan. And at the same time I started taking the pill because I was diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome, PCOS, and my gynecologist was like, just take the pill, which is the worst thing ever, by the way. Like don't just take the pill if you have PCOS, because it's not a cure for it. It just kind of mitigates the symptoms, but it's not addressing the root cause of your PCOS. So yeah, worst decision ever. And so like I was eating about 3,000 calories a day while being mainly sedentary. Like I was working out, but I wasn't very active other than my workouts. There was that. And then also like with all these hormones being put into my body, it does change the way your body metabolizes food. So the calories out portion of the whole energy balance equation was kind of messed up. So in a few months I put on 9 kilos, and I was really unhappy with myself and my body, and I felt really like fat and just like gross. But I had a friend doing the low fat, high carb diet with me, the vegan thing, and we were like just motivating each other, like it's okay, like with time our bodies will kind of like lose weight, So that went on for like a few months, and I just felt like shit, and I fell into a really bad depression actually. I went to see a therapist because I was crying uncontrollably all the time. My mom was really worried, and I felt like no one could understand me. I felt really lost, really suicidal. Like I just didn't want to live anymore. Like I was just like, what's the point of being alive? I had like no goals in life. I was kind of just not wanting to see my friends. Like they would always ask me to go out, and I would lie and make up excuses to not go out because I wanted to like control my food, and I hated my body, and I felt fat, and I felt like shit, and I felt really socially anxious. And it was a really dark time in my life when I was like about 15 years old. This was in 2015. Yeah, so it went on for a while. The therapy didn't really help, but yeah, the pill was making me crazy. And I was reading on a lot of forums online, a lot of girls were like saying that they were just literally mentally crazy because of the pill, because of what hormones can do to your emotions. So at some point I told my mom, like, look, I need to stop taking this pill because I was honestly really depressed. And obviously not only because of the pill, but I just didn't like the way my body felt. So I got off the pill, and I also stopped doing the raw till 4 or like high carb vegan lifestyle. I stayed vegan though, because throughout like my vegan journey I did find out about like the ethical reasons behind veganism, which is why I'm still vegan today, 6.5 years later, by the way. So I just ate like a balanced vegan diet. I started tracking my calories again, but I lowered the food that I was eating, and I also changed my training up. I started doing Kayla Atina's BBG, which is the Bikini Body Guide. So it was like 3 resistance training / circuit training workouts with weights per week, and then 3 cardio sessions that were like low intensity steady state cardio. And I saw really good results. Like the weight started to come off, and I loved training, and I was eating enough food, and it was balanced, and I was eating like I think 1,600 calories a day or something like that, which is a lot lower than what I was eating before. But for my activity levels and just overall like satiety, I was feeling really good, honestly. Like I enjoyed the workouts, I felt strong. I was training in my room, I had like some dumbbells and stuff in my room. I felt really strong, and it just felt really good. And I remember the summer of 2015 winter of 2015 in December I went to Thailand, and I took photos, and I remember that was like the best my physique had ever looked at the time. obviously, and I was really happy, and like I had a pretty good like six-pack, or like I had abs, and I felt pretty good, and I wasn't hungry, and I could eat like good food, and I was getting compliments from people, and it was a good time in my life where I felt at peace with like my body and my training and my food. But then, you know, I took it too far, obviously, afterwards. I just wish it had stopped there, but it didn't, which is really annoying. So when I came back home, this was like 2016, like the new year, I started restricting my food even more, and I got really slim. I lost a lot of weight, and then I started weighing myself again. At that point, I think I was like 48 kilos, and I was like, oh wow, I'm 48, like, because my weight had gone up to like 56 when I was on the pill and doing like the high carb vegan thing. I was like, oh wow, I'm 48, like let's see how low I can go. So I kept on restricting, and then I had like this really bad knee thing, so I couldn't train anymore because of my knee. And on top of that, in March of 2017, I had to do a surgery because I had a cyst in my back, in my lower back. So when I did that surgery, I couldn't train for 4 months because I had a really big open wound in my lower back, and I was like, oh shit, because I can't train, I have to compensate by lowering my calories even more, which is really stupid. So I stopped eating enough. I was eating like 700 or 800 calories a day, which is so low, and it's really bad because obviously with a huge open wound, like I was supposed to probably be eating more so that it could heal, but I was just eating less and less, and I got really skinny, and my weight went down to like 45 kilos, but I was so happy with the way that I looked because I was addicted to being smaller and smaller. And I remember like I would just go like hours just thinking about food and like trying to find ways to distract myself to not be hungry, and I was studying all the time to just try and not eat. I was studying for like 10 hours a day back in high school, and yeah, I was still getting compliments on the way that I looked, and I had like a really big emotional attachment to the way that I looked. I cared so much about what others thought of me, and I remembered like on weekends I would starve myself during the day just so I could like binge drink at night at parties, just so that like people could think of me as that really cool girl that got the best grades but that could also have so much fun and party and like whatever. And yeah, so it was really bad. And then once my wound healed and I was able to train again, I was like, okay, let's get like, you know, like let's gain some muscle, which was like I wasn't even properly training for that, and I still didn't believe in like energy balance at the time, but whatever. I started eating slightly more, and then I could train again, but then I did put on a bit of unwanted like fat. When I saw pictures of myself in a bikini, I was really unhappy, which was like in like I think it was like, I can't remember, I think this was in like 2000, no, my surgery was in 2016, sorry, yes, 2016. After that, so I started eating more up until 2017, around like April-ish. That's when I saw the pictures. I was like, okay, I want to get back to being as small as I was in 2016, because 2016 was the height of my anorexia. That was when I weighed like 45 kilos, and I was really underweight and really skinny. So in April 2017, I saw pictures of myself in a bikini, and I was like, no, I want to get like really lean again, because I had a trip planned to Croatia with my friends that summer in 2017 after we graduated. So I lowered my calories back down to like 1,000, and I kept on doing so many runs. I was running so much and training so much at home, and yeah, so when I went on holiday that summer, I was really happy with my physique, even though right now looking back, I'm like, no. But yeah, so like all those years between 2013 and 2017, just like yo-yoing up and down, eating way too little, just being way too food focused, and also just really appearance focused, and I was attaching a lot of like emotion but also like self-worth to my physical appearance and to my weight. Then in 2017 in September, I moved to London for university, and I took a month off training because I couldn't join a gym at the time for some reason, and also like it was, I don't know, like I was just moving. It was the first time I moved countries in my life, and I was by myself living alone for the first time. So I just took a month off working out, which I had never done deliberately in my life, and I was also drinking a lot because I was going out a lot. And with food, like I just tried to up my calories slightly, because at that point I realized I had a problem. That was when like mentally I knew like, girl, you need to fix yourself, because I was exhausted from just always having to think about what I was gonna eat, or like being stressed about going over my calories, and I was just like, oh, I'm so done. And then I joined a gym, and then I learned about lifting weights. So I discovered on YouTube Jeff Nippard. Stephanie Buttermore, Mike Thurston, and Matt Does Fitness. Those are the 4 main channels that I watched to learn about lifting weights and weight training and the science behind it. And that's when I started learning about energy balance, so calories in versus calories out. So what I started doing at that time in end of 2017, I started implementing a bit more weight training into my routine. I was still doing mostly like circuit training and cardio, but slowly but surely I was increasing the number of sessions that I did that were like purely like bodybuilding style, and I started to like gradually increase my calories as well, and I was seeing progress. I was getting stronger in the gym, which was amazing. I was still vegan at the time as well. I'm still vegan now. And then in January of 2018 was when I was like, all right, I'm gonna just do full-on weight training, fuck cardio, fuck like, you know, circuit training. I just did a full like push-pull legs type of split. I did that for like a few months, push-pull legs, and it worked pretty well, and I gained a bit of muscle, I think, and my calories were up to like 1800 by the time it was like April, May-ish. I did gain a bit of weight, but it didn't bother me that much. It bothered me a little bit in the sense that I was like, when I go to the beach over the summer, I want to be ripped. So then I decided to do a cut, which is probably not a great idea because I didn't have that much muscle anyway, but I did a cut and it went well, and I was eating I think like 15 or 1400 calories by the end of that cut, and I looked alright at the summer. But then 2018 September, when I got back, I was like, fuck this, that's bulk. And that bulk is really the turning point of when I knew I was done with my eating disorders, because I was okay with putting on body fat. So I wasn't weighing myself this whole time up until the end of my bulk in 2018, and I went up to like 60 kilos, which was the highest I'd ever weighed at the time, and I was fine. Like obviously there were some days where I was like a bit, you know, like uncomfortable with my body because my clothes were fitting differently and I looked different, but I think I just stopped identifying myself with being that really skinny girl, and I learned that in life the only thing that is a constant is change. You're always gonna change physically and mentally, and also I think the fact that I just realized that there's so much more to life than the way you look, and I became addicted to getting stronger in the gym. I was squatting heavy, deadlifting heavy, benching heavy. I was obsessed with just getting strong. Like I just love feeling of being able to move up a set of dumbbells or adding a plate to my squat or whatever. And yeah, so that was a couple years ago, and that is when I know that I recovered from my eating disorder. And for me, I was lucky that I could do it by myself, but you know, as you guys have just listened to this entire video, like it took me years. Like I had really shitty eating habits between the ages of 12 and 18 basically for 6 years, and now I'm turning 21 in a few months, and like now I can safely say that I have recovered. But obviously what worked for me isn't gonna work for everyone. I just wanted to share this with you guys because I know that it can inspire some people, motivate some people, or some of you guys may be just curious about what I've been through. This video is really long. If you watched till the end, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you guys want me to talk more in depth about this topic, or if you have any other topics you guys want me to make like a sit down video on. And as always, your support means the absolute world for me. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to follow my journey on Instagram as well. It's just @AdaLifts. And until next time, bye guys.